Hello, blessed star family, and welcome to our 1111 portal reading. So today in real time is actually November 12th. This is a part two. This is part two of what transpired yesterday on the 1111 portal. But because I had such a full day yesterday and it's such a full week for me, Spirit really wanted me to kind of like spread it out. So the energy is still here. All is well, all is well, all is well. If you did not watch the 1111 portal transmissions from the Galactic Council and Energy Updates episode, there will be a link provided in the description box to take you there. And if you want to watch that first before we do this, that's awesome. If not, when they're separate like this, it's about following the breadcrumbs and the signs that feel good to you in your personal story. But they wouldn't have me do a separate video if it was like, you know what I mean? Like you had to watch that one. I will say that there's a bit of a cliffhanger from things going on with my partner and I, my twin flame, as we are going through the metamorphosis and the struggle of the divine masculine and divine feminine at this time. And if they call me to speak about it further, I will, because at the end of that I was like, oh, you guys, I'm like, we're going on a date, because our wedding anniversary is also 11/11. So and it was our 5th wedding anniversary yesterday, and it was actually a really awesome, cool, magical day, but it was all over the place, just like our relationship has been. So it was par for the course. And I feel like I need to kind of like deep think more of things that transpired before I share them with you guys. But if it comes up naturally as we're doing these group picker readings, then I won't hold back, because Spirit really is striving for me to share my personal life. But you know what, it's really nice. I'm getting feedback from people who are like, I'm so glad, thank you for sharing your story with me, because I'm going through this too. And a lot of times, people don't like to share, especially if things aren't going well, and especially if you're in a relationship that, like, most of the time it's peas and carrots, everything's great. It's so funny, I should stop using that term. I love it because it's from Forrest Gump, and when he's like, me and Jenny, we was like peas and carrots again. I love that, right? Because that was such a huge dish, peas and carrots, but I personally find it disgusting. So it kind of makes me laugh that I use it so much in as an analogy, when actually it was one of my dear friends growing up used it all the time. So maybe I'm changing so much, and we all are. And I think there's something really special and spectacular about that. But yeah, it was interesting. So I spoke about that at the end, and I said, after our date, I'll let you guys know like how it transpired. And so much shit went down. It was all good, because I don't even want to say that any of it was bad. There were some moments that were a little more challenging, I will say that. But overall it was a wonderful time. And yeah, I feel like, it keeps going up and down. And I think all of our relationships are going to continue to do this. Also, remember, we are in Mercury retrograde. It's, and it's not just that. I mean, we have Sagittarius at play. I'm not an astrologer. I just play one on TV. No, I'm really not. I'm really not. I do my own research and then I share it with you guys. But, astrology is something that has been coming to me slowly over the years. It's not something I wanted to dive in at the beginning, and I just kept getting like pushed out of it, and was pushed into Reiki, pushed into being a medium, pushed into being a spiritual guidance counselor, like all these different things. But astrology was like, I kept getting like booted out of the club, so to speak, whether it was in meditation or trying to, join a class or learn more. Same with tarot. It was kind of like, and now it's interesting because they have both come to me so gently and lovingly over time, intertwined with all of the knowledge that I have pursued. And, I'm an all over witch, I'm a green witch, white witch, black witch, you know what I mean? Like, I'm all different colors of the rainbow. It just depends on the day. But right now, so much came my way this year, this beautiful fall. I don't know if I've ever in my life have brought in so much natural, like, oils and things so I'm excited this winter to really dig into creating more healing products, And that will be something that I'll discuss with you guys further. Also, before we dive into this reading, my email address is also provided in the description box, magicalmedium@gmail.com, and feel free to email me if you would like to be included on our November 19th new moon in Scorpio reading. It is going to be a live event, but it's going to be a closed live event on YouTube, and it is by donation only. But remember that prayer is free, so don't not show up if you know what I mean, if you're like, oh, I can't afford to be there. That's between you and spirit and your karma, dharma, all that good stuff. So I am here as the facilitator, and how I am compensated for that always works out. And thank you to all of you who have been recently donating to me in all capacities. Thank you so much. I feel the prayers, and thank you for the monetary donations. It really does help keep the lights on and keep this bus rolling. So with that being said, we're going to be taking some things from yesterday's episode and putting it here, and we are going to move forward. And for those of you who are new here, welcome. And those of you who keep coming back, welcome back. But this is how we do it. When we're doing group readings like this, what I mean is there'll be timestamps provided. So if you're, you just are drawn to whatever, as of this moment, I have no idea how they're going to label the readings, if they're going to use emojis, words, songs. It's always different. So you can either watch the whole thing with the group, or you can stop here and go to your reading. They're not having me, this isn't particularly like 1, 2, 3. It's just, these are the cards from the wellness library that we are going to be using. Good deeds, stress less, and positive vibes. They are in no way, I might take a screenshot, but they are in no way like 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? They already told me that. So I knew that going in. But if you didn't watch the other one and you just found yourself here and you don't feel drawn to watch, or, I will say this, it wasn't even really a reading. It was a transmission from the Galactic Council, messages. So I channeled messages from the Galactic Council, which was really rad. And then I also, and that came out of nowhere, by the way. That came out of nowhere. It was like 1 minute I was talking to you guys, and the next minute they were like, oh, here we are. And I was like, oh my gosh. It was really cool though. And it was a new energy, someone I don't ever remember working with. If I've ever worked with them, it's hard to say because I'm a different person all the time, right? I'm just changing and growing, and my consciousness level is changing and evolving too. So it didn't feel or sound familiar to me when they were like talking through me. And they didn't provide a name or anything like that, but it definitely felt like the divine feminine energy. It was really cool. And then we did a healing. We did a Reiki healing, which was nice. And then I just kind of like shared with you guys that it was our anniversary, and I didn't know I was going to share that much. Even at the end, I was just like, I feel like this was a big overshare. And it wasn't like I was trying to overshare. It was like, Spirit is like, you don't understand how pivotal your relationship, like it's meant to be talked about and shared. I will say this, and I know that you may be like, what? Because at the end of the last one, there was quite the cliffhanger. But after he left last night, and after I woke up this morning, I'm still on the fence, which is very interesting. And I think he is too. And I think that's why I am too, because it's like Monty Mater said in one of her videos. She's like, it's either a fuck yeah or a fuck no. And it doesn't mean, forever one way or the other. It just means like in that moment, if it's not a fuck yeah, then it's a fuck no. And I was frustrated and irritated by what I felt like would be a fuck yeah, but I got a fuck no from him. And I was like, wow. And it made me feel like, I've been playing a lot of Pac-Man lately, but when you're like, you're right there. Oh, I had this recently. I was playing Pac-Man. I've been really addicted to it again, but it's cool. I'm working through a lot of inner child trauma. It's really awesome. And if Spirit calls me to, I'll put a link below, because Google did a special thing for Halloween. And I was like, what's that? Pac-Man, and then I clicked on it, and yeah. the other night I got lost in it for 4 hours. When I first started playing, it was like I was laughing and I was like, oh, I lost, ha ha ha. Then it was like, oh no, I need to like fucking like I need to make it to level 8. I can do this. I can do this, you know? Then it was like I made it to level 8 and I was like, yeah, but I can do better. You know, I didn't get the orange on that first board. And anyway, it's been quite entertaining and educational for my journey. So if they comment to, I'll put a link in the description box. Maybe you need it as well. But no, it's like that's kind of how it's been, you know. And I feel like that's what our relationships are like right now. Like, right, we're trying, but it's like this fucking video game. And it feels, you know, like some days it's like real good and you're, you know, some days I've played the game and I'm just like, nah, I'm not into this today, put it away. The other night I was like a fucking psycho. It was the night before 11/11 Portal and before our date. It was our 5-year anniversary and it was, I didn't even realize it until it was like 2 in the morning and I'm like, dude, you have so much shit to do. I'm like, you need to go to bed right now. But I was like, I was so close. And I almost had the perfect game. And those of you who play like certain things like that, you know what I'm talking about. Or maybe it's a sport you play, you know what I mean? But it definitely feels like a game thing. This isn't just like a relationship game. This is like, you know, actually like, you know, but it was like, I got all the fucking, you know, extra points. I was smoking on the ghost. Like, I think by my first or second board, I had like 6 or 7 people, like, you know, little Pac-Mans. I'm like, oh yeah, this is it. This is the game. And I knew it. And then I got real fucking zen about it. I got real zen. I was like, I don't care. I mean, I could play again. And it was just like this whole thing, you know, kind of interesting playing with the energy. So I realized that all the times that I, you know, it was like that one moment where it was going to be the perfect game. And I got cocky. And I lost by 1 pellet. 1. I was like, okay. I'm like, what is going on with you? I'm like, what the fuck is happening with you? And it was quite entertaining. So when I looked down a minute ago, I noticed that it was at 12 minutes. And I wanted to tell you that before I started this, I was seeing all these numerology things and I kept seeing 12 everywhere. So if you're seeing 12, maybe this is a hint that that's like, you know, for you. And I think they're having me go into reading 1. I don't know what the hell that noise was. They, you know, I haven't looked outside. It could be working. They could be working outside. Okay, so reading 1, is it number 12? Is that what you're trying to say? Like, do you want to do numbers? Well, technically it's number 3. Is it a number? Okay. Is it just like a sign for somebody? Oh, when I looked up, it was 1309, which is also the number 13. So yesterday, even though it was the 11/11 portal, it was a 13 number. And today, because it's the next day, is a 14 number. Oh, did you guys see that ancestor go through? Oh my gosh. Right? Because 2025 is 9. Today's the 12th. Oh, today's the 12th. Oh, yeah. I'm so pretty. That was awesome. But, right, so 9 and 12 is 3. So, right, so 9 and 3 would be 12. And then it's 11 November. So 12, 13, 14. So today is a 5-day in numerology. Like yesterday was a 4-day about balance. And we spoke about that as well. But it's about a new dawn, a new day. It's about real change and transformation. We are in the wellness library. Yesterday was also the 3rd quarter moon. I mean, there was so much going on. I had to confront my partner and say certain things and talk about things that I didn't think I would do or say. Things that it was like I was possessed. But there was this part of me that was just like, no longer will I stop being who I am to make other people feel better or make other people feel comfortable. It's one thing if we're trying to be kind and respectful of another person's space. That's just being, you know, that's part of humanity, to honor and respect each other. However, that doesn't mean that we keep changing who we are at our core to do so. You know, case in point, those characters in the TV shows or the movies, right? That people are like, you know, I had a friend like this too, where people be like, how can you be friends with them? Like, they're so awful. They're so mean. They're just mean. And I'm like, you know, I'm like, they're not really mean. I'm like, they're actually a really good person with a lot of baggage and a lot of pain and suffering. And the reason why I can be friends with them is that I can call them out on their bullshit. And I feel like that's the true sign of a relationship, whether it's romantic or otherwise. If someone is behaving badly towards us or others in our presence, and we know that that's not their core soul energy, we are not here to tell them who to be. We're here to be who we are and show them what is and is not allowed. And it's going to be different for everybody. And that's why at the end of our date, it was a really good date. And there was a part of me that really didn't want to spoil it. You know what I mean? I even said at the beginning, I'm like, let's not talk about like this or that or this or that. And he agreed, and we just had a really good time. And I was on board for that. Honestly, I really was. But what was upsetting and stressful was that there were moments that I was recognizing certain behavioral patterns. And I'm like, I almost couldn't watch the movie or concentrate on dinner, or like, I almost couldn't like be present because I felt like I was like, you know, and I had to check with spirit and be like, is it just because I'm like controlling and I'm like, I must be heard? Or is it like, this needs to be addressed right now? This is what I'm talking about. And so at the end, things just, you know, you can hear it in my voice. Things just were not the way I think either one of us thought they were going to go. And it was a little stifling. But at the same time, I know that it needed to be said. And I feel like that's what they're trying to tell us right now, is that it's knowing, it's using your intuition and checking in with spirit, right? Is it a hell yeah or a fuck no? You know, is it a, you know, and it is kind of getting to that point where it's kind of like do or die, all or nothing. We don't like to use ultimatums and things like that, but I mean, for me, it was kind of like, I don't know if I can tolerate being in this person's presence. You know what I mean? That was a pretty screenshot. So where they are is where they are, and it is not my place to change that, try to change that, try to mold or sculpt them into who I think they should be or who I want them to be. I found myself saying things like, where's that guy? Like, how come, you know, like, am I ever going to see that guy again? Or is like, was that guy real or was that guy not real? Like, you know, and then I'm like realizing that is my languaging, because I'm trying to find languaging that he'll understand, but then I'm realizing that it's languaging that I don't really feel comfortable using anymore. So it's a dichotomy. And I feel like, you know, right now in the 1111 portal, yesterday I felt drunk in happiness. And today I feel like kind of hungover and tired. And I even said to spirit, you know, I apologize that I didn't take better care of myself. When I woke up this morning, I was like, oh, I'm like, should we maybe wait and do this later? And they're like, no, because that's the duality of it, right? Like, I was in the high of it yesterday, feeling all the energy, but I'm also a medium. So my body's tired. My avatar is tired. My avatar and my human existence is still married and involved with this person. So if we are in relationships whether it's family, friends, work, or whatever, heavily involved in relationships with people, and we are in different dimensions, different like energy fields, however you want to word it in your languaging. How do we coexist? I think that's where my struggle is. Oh, when I looked up, it was 2011, which is also the number 4, right? Like, how do we build a strong foundation, like the number 4? Like, how do we build that strong foundation? So let's start with reading 1. I don't know if there'll be any themes or if there'll be, I don't know how they're going to have me do it, but let's start. Well, do we have any messages from the Good Deeds deck? Okay. There's this one. Do we have any other messages from the Good Deeds deck? Okay. Now I'm going to put the Good Deeds deck back here. Okay, because this is reading 1. So also reading 1. Is there any messages and stress less? Are there any messages? Okay, these feel like they were like stuck together. Okay, and this was upside down, by the way. Okay, this one too. Okay. Reading 1, do we have any positive vibe cards? Do we have any positive? Ooh, let's try that again. Do we have any? Okay. Do we have any more positive vibe cards for reading 1, Spirit? Okay, so let's start there. I feel like I'm being called to take a break for a minute, so I'm going to take a break for a minute. If you guys want to take a break, if you're here for the whole shebang and shaboodle, you can, obviously I'm going to pause it, so it's going to be like a second for you, but if there was one particular reading that you were more drawn to and you want to go watch that first, by all means, go do that. Don't feel like you are meant to watch all of them. If you're only called to 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, I don't know how many we're going to do, use your intuition. And if you're called to more than 1, whichever one you feel like is pulling you first, because sometimes there is a method to the madness in terms of the chronological order that they want you to hear the messages. Okay, so I will see you guys over at reading 1. Actually, I'm going to put these. I feel like they want you guys to see the words. Okay, I'll be right back. Welcome, reading 1. My eyes went right here. So if you didn't watch the description, we have the Wellness Library is the deck that we're using, and there are 3 different decks inside the deck. So we have Good Deeds, Stress Less, and Positive Vibes. So let's see what's going on in your world. What do you need to hear from the angelic 1111 portal? They're asking me to read them in order, and it almost feels like playing cards like this. Like, almost feel like I'm playing cards. So interesting, which makes me think, are you like in some type of game? I just got the chills. So I heard make regular time to laugh. Yes, I feel like some of you are on a healing journey, but you're taking shit way too fucking seriously. And I understand that that's where you are in your level of consciousness, that you feel like you need to take it so seriously. But Spirit's saying, you know what? No. Make regular time to laugh. Find a new TV comedy or watch stand-up comedy videos on YouTube. Yes, you need to laugh. Laughter is like literally one of the most healthiest cleansing energies that we can like shimmer through our beautiful avatars. So, look around if you're not familiar with TV or whatever, but look around, be like, hey, like, what's really funny right now? What's everybody watching? What's something? I feel like I want to zoom in a bit, because maybe there's something that you just need to like get your mind off of things. Okay. So the next one is, which it's interesting because it's upside down. I always say that, so you can look at it any way you want, but it's just interesting. Notice which of the people in your life boost you and which ones drain you. Allocate your time accordingly. That's right. Don't spend time with people that make you question yourself, feel bad about yourself. Like, that's not, I feel like that's, that's not it's not your job to bring positive vibes to, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not your job. You know, I feel like they're telling me to pause. They're telling me to keep going, and we're gonna keep going because they want you to breathe right now. This one was in reverse too, so let's see what this says. Okay. Know your limits. Don't agree to plans and projects that you know you have no energy for. This is so important. This is so important. I've been on a roll all week, and it started with this really powerful reading on Saturday. And then I got a lot, done through like my own personal shit over Sunday and Monday. And then, yesterday I had, this awesome reading and connection with you guys and the Galactic Council and beyond. And then had, this magical date, for my 5-year wedding anniversary with my partner. And then today I'm doing this. Tomorrow I have a phone call, and I have a friend who was like, hey, can you talk on Friday? And I was like, yeah, I can do that. And Spirit was like, are you kidding me? Especially because my phone call tomorrow is, we haven't spoke since like July. And so we're going to be like catching up and talking. We like to play, have fun. Sometimes we pull cards, you know what I mean? Like she's one of my wellness, speaking of wellness library, she's like one of my wellness sisters, right? So I don't know how I'm going to feel on Friday. And then it was so funny because this morning Spirit's like, then message her today and say, let's aim for Friday, but I don't know how I'm going to feel on Friday. And she and I have always had this really great rapport where like, we may plan it, but the day of, we may not be into it. So, you don't have to do everything all the time for everybody, and then I was like looking at the calendar and I was like, oh my gosh. And I got new moon, reading, live reading for the tribe, on the 19th, new moon at Scorpio. And I'm like, all these things. And it's like, whoa, slow down, slow down. And then I was like, I want to see the Wicked 2, movie. It's like, fucking slow down, slow down. And I feel like Spirit keeps trying to tell us to slow down. Also, in real time, we are in the 8th phase of the Libra moon. And, this is the time we're in the rest and restore. Whenever you watch this, it's timeless. But I'm hearing for some of you guys, it's not just about the moon cycles. I feel like for some of you, you are about to go into like holiday season where you like have parties and things to do. And so this is Spirit's message for you where they're like, listen, if you don't have the energy, you don't go. And prioritize your energy. Like, who do you want to, don't just go to a certain thing because you want to shut somebody up or you want to keep somebody, in good graces or whatever. It's like, no, if it's not feeling good, it's not feeling good. If it's not right, it's not right. We said it in the beginning of this before I started the readings part. And it, and I stole this from Monty Mater, and she said, it's either a fuck yeah or a fuck no, or hell yeah or a hell no. You know what I mean? Like, it really is getting to that. And I know that the pendulum, swings very far one direction to the other, but it's kind of like, no, I think the shades of gray in certain areas of our lives can actually be detrimental to our healing interesting journey. So I just heard journal. So I heard for some of you, either start journaling again or take up journaling, or if you're journaling, maybe there's something that, are you like being honest with your journal? You know what I mean? I had a friend once, by the way, before I give this card, where we were talking about journals or diaries or something. And she said, well, I always had 2. And I said, what? And she goes, yeah, I always had 2. She's like, I had one that like, just in case like my family or somebody read it. And then she's like, and I had one that like, kind of like never left me. And I was like, that's so sad that you even feel the need to have 2. I was like, what are you talking about? And then the other hand, I had a friend, because I was thinking of this other friend, and then I was like, oh, I forgot about her too, who she's like, oh, I never write anything down. And I was like, what do you mean? I go, then how do you journal? She's like, oh, no, I journal. She's like, but I mean, I don't like write like, details of like how I really feel. I'm like, that's the whole point of a journal. It's to write out like what you can't say, or, like what you're feeling and what you're thinking. Obviously our brains can deceive us, but I'm saying like at the same time though, if it's in there, why is it in your brain? So it must want to come out, So if you're just like, then it's like, so you're faking your journal? I'm like, then you're basically faking your life. Like, that's fucking crazy. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird. But, I mean, I don't know. So maybe that's for somebody. Okay. So this says, when things, and I don't mean to be weird to be judgmental. I'm saying weird is actually in the same frame of the word magic. It's like a different form of magic. It's a withholding too of who you are and your emotions and what you're going through. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Okay, so when things seem hectic, take 5 minutes to do nothing but stare out of the window. And even that can be, like overwhelming, depending on what's out your window. So I'm saying, like, stare at something for 5 minutes that brings you calm and serenity. Not something that's going to keep you in your head, or, you know what I mean? Okay. So these are your little tidbits from Spirit to stress less. Stress less. Okay. So now, good deeds. Let's see. Which one do they want me to go next? Ooh, they're having me go to positive vibes, because they're saying from one extreme to the other, they want you to see, right? Because the pendulum does swing both ways. So this says more kindness, less judgment. Oh, which is interesting, right? Because I felt myself kind of being kind of judgy. But maybe that's a message for you too. And maybe I was channeling your energy. Or where are you being, judgmental? Are you being judgmental? And why are you being judgmental? So more kindness. Think of it this way. A lot of times when we're judging somebody, it's because there's something in there that's connected to something we haven't healed, and we're actually judging ourselves. It's just like kind of a, odd way, right, to look at it, but it's not. It's not. Okay, so what's the next one? Ooh, they want these two to come together. So good deeds and positive vibes. Beep, 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 beep. Okay. So I'll put them this way. And then that way you guys can, wherever your eyes went first, that's the one you were supposed to see first. So it says, surprise your friends with random sweet messages. Let your soul glow. So in the positive vibes, let your soul glow. And in the good deeds, surprise your friends with a random sweet message. It's like, in our romantic relationships, we want this, right? Like we want somebody who would just like send us like random, messages of love and all this. But how come we don't do that for our friends? My one friend, actually the friend I'm talking to tomorrow, she actually does. Or she used to. It's been a minute, but it's okay. I mean, the world's different now. But I remember one time she sent me, sorry, I was trying to adjust this. I remember one time she sent me a text and was just like, I just want to tell you how wonderful you are. And I see you and how much hard work you're doing. And I was like, dude, that's so nice, So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to, when you're feeling up to it, right? Because sometimes, you may not be up for messaging somebody, but when you're in a good vibration and a high vibration and you're feeling good, and maybe even that you can hold space for somebody if they happen to call you, who knows? But send somebody, like maybe you're just meditating or you're out for a walk and they come into your mind and you're like, this is the day, this is the person, you'll know what to do. Wow, that's so sweet. Let me ask Spirit, do we want to pull any more cards for reading 1 right now? Nope, that's it. All right, you guys. Thank you for the messages for reading 1. We're going to jump into reading 2. Spirit, do you want me to do anything before I jump into reading 2? Okay, so we close the window and portal for reading 1. Sorry for that loud noise. And now we're going to go into reading 2. Welcome, reading 2. I was actually about to zoom in until I saw this like cool like purple flame or purple, I don't know what's going on, but it's like really magical. And I feel like this was a little wink, wink, nod, nod from Spirit. Also, when I looked down, even though it was 3433, all I saw was 333. So if you've been seeing 333, or if 3 is like a, lucky number for you or something like that, this may be a sign that this is your reading. So if you didn't watch the beginning, we are pulling from the Wellness Library Oracle deck. It's positive vibes, good deeds, and stress less are they're like these little mini decks in one deck. It's so cute. See, it says Wellness Library, but like they all go in there. It's just the cutest thing. I love this deck. So I kind of feel like this is just messages that we need to hear right now. This is from the 1111 portal reading that we did yesterday. There's a link in the description box. Today in real time is November 12th, 2025. Whenever you watch this, it's timeless. But I just wanted to put that out there for you. I'm also going to zoom in a little because I feel like they just wanted to give you that. And now I'm going to go back to like, okay, here we go. So let's see. Do we have any messages, reading 2? Do we have any messages from the positive vibes deck? Do we have any messages from the positive vibes deck? Okay, there's 1, 2, just 2, and that one. Okay, put that there for now. Let's see, stress less. Okay, so reading 2. Do we have any messages from the stress less? Okay. Any more messages from stress less? Okay. Oh, just 1. That's good. Not that it's bad. I've used more. I didn't mean it like that. I was just, well, because reading 1 had many cards in stress less, and you know, and I guess I'm saying like, yay, like I'm glad you're not stressing so much reading 2. You know what I mean? Okay. Ooh, this one flew right off the cuff. Okay, good deeds. Do we have any more messages from good deeds? Okay, interesting. So we've got 1 stress less, 1 good deeds, and 1 positive vibes. I don't know if this, maybe this wants to go here. I feel like it wanted to stay in there, but I always kind of like giving it a spin too to see if there's any scrying going on for some of you. Okay, so my eyes went to stress less, and they actually, when I looked at, they were like, go in order. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so stress less. Your message is know your limits. Don't agree to plans and projects that you know you have no energy for. Okay, you guys, this was literally reading 1. So if you were pulled to reading 1, you need to look at that. And you know what's so funny? I literally was going to say, well, you only got 1 card. And I thought, well, unless it's like a really, you know, heavy card, then I guess it's intense. And it's interesting because out of all the stress less cards, this was the one that felt the heaviest to me. So that's interesting. And I really, you know, was shuffling them. So that's interesting. Okay, so know your limits. Don't agree to plans and projects that you know you have no energy for. You know, whenever these kind of messages come up right before the holiday season, I take it very seriously. I'm serious. I feel like you should take it seriously as well, you know? Sorry, I meant to go in, but there's something with this. Yeah, look at this. I wanted to go in and they pulled their energy out. Isn't that interesting? That's so interesting. Also, this is from Candle Wax. But I don't mean to be, you guys know I rarely talk about crass things or like get nitty gritty like with readings. But when when I said pull out, I looked at this and it looked like ejaculation material, and because that could be male or female. So that was interesting. I feel like for some of you, if you feel like you cannot stay, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like for some of you, maybe you're working through something right now and you really want to, this may even be for one, because I feel like you're either having an affair or in a sexual relation. Like, I feel like there's at least one person in here that has a very intense connection sexually to someone. I just got the chills all over my body. But there are other things that are lacking. And I'm hearing from Spirit that you need to take a break from this person to see what it's like when you're not just having sex, because sex doesn't solve all problems. And I don't care if they are the best lay of your life. And trust me, I know, I get it. But you have to remember that sometimes people are just soulmates. And that's why you have that intense connection, because you've had sex with them before in that type of connection and human form in another lifetime as different people. And so it's just energy, and energy has memory. So you're remembering that feeling. And if it makes you feel any better, I'm going through the same thing with my partner right now, where it's like, is this old energy, or is this current energy, or is this, like, you know what I mean? And I really do think that the absence does make the heart grow fonder. And if you're in the vibe of like, oh, sex is going to heal this, or sex is going to fix this, it's not. And like I said, this might only be for one person. You know, it could even be that you have a lover, but like maybe you have like a busy schedule and you have things going on, and then they'll call you and you'll just like throw everything out and just like go to them and go be with them. And maybe you'll like shut off for like a day or two. They're like, it's kind of like an addiction. And I feel like for some of you, it's more of an addiction than an actual connection. And I know that a physical connection can feel very confusing and can feel like love. But also, because I'm feeling like this kind of like damaged, like heart energy that happened when you were younger. And this person, it's like a high and you feel better. You know, it's like that song from Kelly Clarkson, "You're my favorite kind of high," you know, right? It's like, you know, and then it's interesting because I was just watching like this part of her song came on, and then I watched this little bit of an interview with Dr. Mate, and he was talking about addiction, and it was really powerful. If Spirit calls me to, I'll put a link in the description box, but it was so powerful. I didn't get to watch the whole thing yet, but I watched a lot, and that like I felt like now was meant to be told to you. But he basically, I'm paraphrasing because he said it much better, but he basically said that an addiction is anything that gives you a high. But if it's something you have to keep coming back to it to get the high, it's an addiction. An addiction is something you can't live without. And he compared it to slavery, and he said the base word of addiction is addictus, and he said, and that actually comes from back in, you know, certain times or whatever. He's like that people, when they couldn't pay their debt, they would give themselves to servitude to the person that they owed until their debt was paid, and then they were free. And he said that's what addiction is. And it was so eye-opening for me. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I thought, you know, am I just addicted to my husband? Like, or am I like, you know, is this real? And I think in this Mercury retrograde energy in real time, especially being at the end of the year and the end of this big transformative year and the year of the snake and everything, I think this is just a big time for us to look at all of our relationships right now. Now, mind you, I give you one example. So insert your story, but there's, you know, they don't normally share something kind of naughty like that, you know. I'm talking about ejaculation and things like that. Like I wouldn't, it just wouldn't come through my mind like that if it wasn't so. And because I have been in those relationships. In fact, I remember one time this person who I was like madly crazy in love with, he was like, have you ever had sex like that? And both of us, you know, I mean, at the time we would joke and we were like self-proclaimed whores, right? Like we both had been with several people. We both like understood, you know, like, you know, certain things. And he's like, I've never had sex like that. Have you ever had sex like that? And he's like, I've never had sex like that with anybody in my life. And I was like, no, me neither. I was like, that was like, what just happened? We both were like, what just happened? You know? And then obviously when you're with somebody for a while, it gets more intense. But like right now, like my marriage is like, it's just all over the place. And, you know, I said, we're going into our 11th year together. Things get stale. Things, you know, it's not going to be the same. We have to change and evolve and grow together, or we grow apart. So if you're trying to hold on to somebody, or they're trying to hold on to you, or Spirit had me post this really powerful shorts from this woman who was talking about like basically the vibe I got from Spirit was like the narcissist empath relationship. And I think we have a lot of those in this tribe because it's been coming up so much over the last several years. And sometimes you don't even know you're in that. And the interesting thing is you can both be empaths and both be narcissists as well. So it can be very confusing as to like, you know, what role am I playing you know, and you know, and what role am I playing in today? So the next one is positive vibes, and this one had more than one card, but they asked me to go to the top one first. Oh, it says you deserve good things. Yeah. And maybe it could be like, you know, I went through a phase where I just took lovers for like 7 years. I'm like, I need to spend some time like on my own. I need to know who the fuck I am. I'm like, I've been in relationships most of my life. I got married when I was 25. I was like, I need to know who I am now. Ooh, I meant to go down and that went up. Interesting. I was like, I need to know who I am now. And I feel like for a long time I didn't feel like I deserved anything. And I feel like you may be going through that as well, is that you feel like you don't deserve good things, but you do. You absolutely, positively deserve good things. And interesting, this one was in reverse. I always like to call it out. Oh, let your soul glow. Yeah, definitely go to reading one because this is the second card that was in reading one. They had a lot of cards. So let your soul glow. You deserve good things. Let your soul glow. And you know, if you're giving all your energy to somebody else, it's like, how can you? You know what I mean? Like, how can your soul glow when you're giving all your energy away to somebody else? I want to see what your good deeds are. I feel like it wants to come out right now. Okay. Surprise your friends with random sweet mess. I mean, you guys, this is basically reading one. No joke. And you heard me shuffling. I know this is a group reading and I get it, like, but these are the messages. Because you know what? Maybe somebody won't watch reading one or watch reading two, you know? So they're like, but surprise your friends with random sweet messages. We spoke about that. You know, write your friend a letter, send them a text, send them, you know, if you have the means, send them like their favorite box of cookies from their favorite baker. Or, you know, I'm just hearing, especially with the holidays coming up, I'm getting the vibe that you do better. I heard from Spirit, you do better when you're like doing for others. And remember that sex is a sacred act. You know, I was watching The Witches of Eastwick. I hadn't seen it in years. And, you know, the really religious lady, I remember, or I didn't remember this part, but I was like kind of surprised that they had it on YouTube, the way she, you know, but she says, she's like, whores, they're whores and blah, 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 and talking about them. And she goes, listen, I'm not against a good fuck, okay? She's like, but this is different. There's something, she's like, there's something really like diabolical going on up there. And it was just really interesting. So it's like, yeah, I mean, you know, one night stands, it's like, it doesn't mean you're like the devil, you know what I mean? Like, it's just that they're saying like, if you're going to put yourself in that world, be mindful of who you're exchanging your physical energy with. You know, I was really frustrated yesterday with my partner about certain things, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, the only things I was really upset about were the things that didn't go my way. And that's hard to swallow. That's hard to hear, you know? See, and now like my little Beavis and Butthead is like, I heard myself say swallow. Okay, but you know what I'm saying. So there must be something going on here. Let me see if there's any more cards, because I do kind of feel like there might be more coming out from reading too. If not, it's because they just want you to... What's this one? Oh my gosh. I just started to shuffle and one popped out and it was another one from reading one. So yeah, I'm just gonna, I feel like I'm gonna try again with good deeds, but if nothing, then these are our messages and let's just leave it there. This one says, oh, this is a good one. Okay, cool. This is the end of your reading. Okay, so your last message from Spirit with good deeds. So another thing you can do is carry around a care package of food or toiletries that you can give to a homeless person. I don't know when this deck was made, but I know some people find homeless person, negative, but just anybody in need. This is really important. Whenever I remember years ago, whenever I'd feel really down or depressed, I would go to the store and buy a bunch of food. I would make it and I would go hand it out to people. It really did make me feel better. One year for Christmas, my mom sent me $25 and I was so broke at the time. And I really, really needed that $25 for myself, like for food. But I was really in this energy that I'm like, I want to give back. And I went and I was on food assistance at the time. So I bought a jar of peanut butter, I got a loaf of bread, and then I bought a bag of candy. I'm like, okay, I've got $25. So I cashed the check and I put them into single dollar bills, 25 single dollar bills. And I'm like, I'm going to make 25 lunches and I'm going to go pass them out on Christmas and it'll make me feel better. And I'm not kidding you. It really did. It really did. It made me feel so much better. And just, I mean, having people cry. I had one guy who was like, this will probably be my only meal today. And he was so real. He was like crying, he said he was tired and he didn't want to go and try and get food because he's, especially on the holidays, he's like, it's, whatever. And then I had another guy who was like, I don't think anyone's given me a gift. And he's like, I don't know how many years. And I was like, oh my gosh. And also because I love to draw and I'm an artist, I literally drew like Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, like I drew like Christmas trees and bells and bows. Like every single bag I decorated differently. So that when they got it, they were like, oh, cool. What's that? I had one guy, I was walking by and I said, and it was all meant to be because I was walking by this guy and I said, hey, I'm like, I have a lunch. Would you like it? And he's like, what do you have? And I was like, don't take it personally. I'm like, peanut butter and jelly? And he's like, nah. I'm like, are you sure? Because I didn't tell them that there was $1 in there. I didn't tell them there was money in there because I didn't want them, So I made them a sandwich, gave them some candy, some chocolates, and $1. That was what was in the bag. And the last bag that I gave out to, and I was living at 15th and Hawthorne at the time. Actually, no, where was I? No, I think I was living at 28th and Burnside when I was in Portland. That's right. I took the Burnside bus. That's right. And I went to the other side of the river. I went down downtown, and the last place or where I ended up, I had them drop me off right at the other side of the river because that's where a lot of the encampments were. And I couldn't believe how there weren't as many people as I thought there would be. And long story short, I ended up at Powell Books. I was in front of the original Powell Books in Portland, Oregon. And there was this guy standing on the corner and he had a sign asking for food. And I went up to him and we ended up having a great conversation. I sat with him, we talked and shared this sandwich. And you know what I mean? It's like, so that last one wasn't meant to go to that guy. It was meant to go to the guy that it was meant to. That day changed my life, you guys. And you know what I got? On the way home, I was taking the bus. Oh no, that's what it was. I walked one way because the weather was nice, even though it was Christmas and it was Portland. It was like 45. It wasn't too bad. So I put all the bags in my carry-on, like a suitcase that I had that was on wheels and was waterproof, So I knew it was going to rain at some point at that day. And so I just walked and walked and walked until I found, whatever. But I will never forget that guy because right after we were done, it was like perfect timing. The bus came up because the buses run less frequently on holidays. And so if I didn't catch that bus, I was going to have to wait for the next one. And right when like he and I were done, I gave him a hug. I turned around and the bus came around the corner. And I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. Because I was cold. I'd been out there all day. And I hopped on the bus and it started to rain, but the sun was out. And as we were crossing the Willamette River on the bridge, this man, like this angel, that's a whole story. I can't get into all that, but this angel like pointed and I was like, what? And I looked out the window and I was like, oh, and there was a huge rainbow. And I started to cry and I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen a rainbow on Christmas before. And that was my gift from Spirit. So, you know what I mean? Like, you don't realize what little little random acts of kindness, whether it's a message or a letter or, something to a friend that needs it's just some support, or, it's just doing something that, even though I had quote unquote nothing, I still had more than most people. And at that time, I was like losing my apartment. Like, I had to be out of my apartment at the end of the month. So it was Christmas, and I still didn't know where I was going to move or what was going to happen. And literally, like, I went and did that. I took my mom's $25 that she gave me, and I turned it into 25 miracles. And a few days after that, I found my dream apartment on 15th and Hawthorne. And that's where I really wanted to live. And it was in the price I can afford, like everything aligned. So, sometimes even when you give like the last bit that you have, Spirit's watching. They will come through for you. Don't hold things so close to your chest. Let your soul glow. You deserve good things. But know your limits, and don't agree to plans and projects that you know that you have no energy for. Even if you want to like hold back this holiday season, like maybe you don't even want to be around people, that's okay too. I kind of got the vibe yesterday. Like, I was like, I think I need to, I've just gotten in the habit of always thinking about me and him, right? We've been together for 10 and a half years, 5 of them married, and I'm always pushing to you guys, take care of yourself, self-care. And I do. But when I'm like working with Spirit, or I'm trying to figure certain things out, or like right now, like the holidays are coming up, I'm like, are we going to spend time together? I don't know. And Spirit's been really pushing and teaching us to live in the moment and go with the flow. So it's like, you can make plans, but, tell people they're tentative. I had people who were like, you're so fucking flaky. And I'm like, am I flaky, or am I just like, hey, like if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And if it's not, it's not. And, it's like, it doesn't make you a flake because you said you'd be there. And it's like, if you're meant to be there, you'll be there. Also, right before I was about to put the cards away, or at least get them ready for the next reading, this one, it says, next time you go out to eat, tip your server a little extra. Yeah, it goes a long way. I know when I was a server, even recently, I did a reading with somebody over the phone, and they gave me a little extra. It's nice. It's nice when somebody gives you like a little tip, a little something you weren't expecting. But definitely, whether you're, maybe you're going to a meditation class and you want to bring your instructor or your shaman, or, yoga or whatever, like, I don't know. I just am feeling like this is the season for us to give. This is the season for giving, because the truth is, the more you give, the more you receive. But if you're doing it to get something back, that's a different story, right? All right, you guys, I believe those are your messages. Let me see if there are any more messages. Do we have any more messages for reading 2 at this time? No, except for go check out reading 1 if you haven't seen it. All right, you guys, until next time, take good care of yourselves and each other. All of my information is in the description box below, and I'm going to move on to reading 3. Love you. Blessed be. Now, see you at reading 3. Okay, welcome reading 3. By the way, out of nowhere, as I was about to go to your reading, I saw Miracle on 34th Street, the original one. So I don't know if it's like, I feel like your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to watch that movie. It's actually free on YouTube this month. They do have free with ads, but if you wanted to do like a month of YouTube for free, it's worth it. There's a lot of good movies free this month, like really good movies. It's worth paying the money to have them commercial free. Anyway, with that being said, we are working with the Wellness Library. If you didn't watch anything before this, and in the Wellness Library, there are actually 3 separate decks. We have Stress Less, Positive Vibes, and Good Deeds. And the way this has been going, it really feels like this is gearing towards the holidays. So if you're drawn to reading 1 and reading 2, you may want to check them out. Reading 1 and reading 2 had identical cards, not all of them, but like enough that they're definitely tied together if you are drawn to it. If you're not, don't make something your story that's not your story. But whenever there's that many cards, and I'm shuffling and I'm shuffling and I'm shuffling, and randomly there's definitely a message there. Also, I'm feeling for some of you guys, like, I feel like you feel like something is missing. And let me see if we have, do we want to hear from the positive vibes deck first? Do we want to hear it? No? Okay. I don't know how to explain it any other way. Is that I feel like some of you feel like something is missing. Okay. My mind didn't go here. Okay. So we're going to start with the stress less deck. Okay. So where is, do you feel like something's missing? Does somebody feel like something's missing? Okay. So the first card we got, notice which, oh my gosh, you guys, this is crazy. This is from reading 1. So maybe you're meant to watch the whole thing. Notice which of the people in your life boost you and which ones drain you. Allocate your time accordingly. Yeah, I feel like, especially with them having me bring in like the holiday little, you know, cones, pine cones, the glittery pine cones. I feel like for some of you, this is like, it almost feels like it's the same thing. Like you're like, oh, here come the holidays again. Here come the, and they're like, but if you have that energy, why do you have that energy? No one's dragging you there. No one says you have to be there. Some of you are so addicted. This came up in reading, I don't know if it was reading 1 or reading 2, but some of you are literally addicted to the drama with your family. I had to completely cut my family out of my life because I'm like, it started to feel like I was watching, like I literally felt like my life was Groundhog Day. It was like different holiday or a different person's house or whatever, but the same conversations, the same bullshit, the same, to the point that I felt like I had to have armor on just to be around them, to like know, like it's like I had like my pre-calculated answers for certain questions, you know, especially certain times in my life. Like, you know, certain family members are like, oh, your clock is ticking, you know, you're not gonna be able to have kids, you know, you're the only one that doesn't have kids, right? And everybody else had kids. And I was like, well, good, then I'm the one that doesn't have kids in the family. That's okay, there's always one, you know. And they're like, no, there's not. You're the only one that doesn't have kids. I'm like, well, then I guess I'm a fucking anomaly. You know what I mean? Which is so crazy because what they really meant to say was all the women had kids. There were men on my parents' side of the family that didn't have children. I'm like, but why is it that, like, you know, I had to have kids? So it could be something like that for you guys too. Like maybe you're dealing with like certain people or certain family members that, you know, they're like, let go of the addiction. Okay. Oh my gosh. This was from reading 1 too. What the fucking fuck? When things seem hectic, take 5 minutes to do nothing but stare out of the window. I'm almost at the point where I'm like, why bother shuffling? I'm just gonna, maybe we're done. Maybe we just had 2 readings, or maybe they didn't even want me to put numbers on them. Because I did say, are we doing a group reading and a pick reading? And they said yes. So let's see, do we have any more messages from the stress less? They're saying these will tie in differently to the other ones though. I'm like, okay. And this says, eat the rainbow by including as many colorful fruits and vegetables in your meals as possible. Yes, that's a tough one, right? Like, you know, if you're someone who maybe you don't live in an area where it's easy to get fresh fruits and vegetables, or maybe you're on the go all the time. They're trying to say, like, you need to, though. Like, you need to. I'm hearing for your health, you need to. I felt like this wanted to go there before, and now I feel like it wants to come back. Oh, here comes the scrying. But I'm going to see if we want to do a spin on this and see where it ends up. I feel like it wants to go here, but the tiger's eye wants to move. Okay. So let's see, do we have any more stress less? And I'm hearing also part of your stress is if you're having too much sugar or caffeine, it can really fuck with your body. And I don't care if it's green tea, caffeine. I don't care if it, you know, it's like our bodies, especially as empaths, we are sensitive creatures. If you are going to a family party and all they serve is shit food, then maybe you are the one that will bring the rainbow of, you know, bring a big platter of organic, you know, vegetables, raw, make a healthy dip, maybe make a vegan dip. You know, I've been seeing so many things recently from people who are like, wow, I went vegan after I worked on this movie or this TV show with so-and-so. I was just curious, and now I understand that, like, I feel so much better. And you know, this isn't shaming. It's just that some people like myself, my body doesn't like animal products at all. I can once in a while, like last week, I was drawn to these, it was like a 70% off bin from Halloween, and it was from one of my favorite organic candy chocolate makers. And I always like buy their stuff. So I was like, oh, it's fine. I didn't even realize it until I was checking out that it had milk chocolate in it. And I was like, oh no, I usually get the dark chocolate but it was like a Halloween edition and they'd done something different. And I was like, oh, fuck it. And I ate it and I was fine. But, but I don't go into a practice, so, and if you're feeling like shit, but you're not sure what's making you feel like shit, then maybe it's time to do like a little experiment on your body. And remember that our bodies change every 7 years. So, and also it says when things seem hectic, take 5 minutes to do nothing but stare out the window. So when you're staring out the window, and may it be a window that has like a serene, nothing that's going to make you feel stressed out. Because it makes me laugh when I look at that card, because I'm like, well, you could look out the window and see your neighbor like frantically changing a tire and like feel their stress, you know what I mean? Or you could look out the window in the city and see the traffic and you don't feel calm, it's like, and I could say look outside and look at nature, but then while you're looking at nature, you could see like some animal kill another animal, you know what I mean? So it's like, I think it's even better just to close your eyes, but even then it's like, what is that? And maybe that's how you're feeling, because this says notice which of the people in your life boost you and which ones drain you. Allocate your time accordingly. Maybe there's people in your home, your work, and so it's all of it. It's not just like the people in your life. It's not just like the scenery or where you live. It's the food too. My throat chakra. Drink some water. And I'm hearing drink more water, take better care of yourself. And raw foods aren't for everybody. So have you ever saw that One Big Bang Theory where Sheldon decides to go on this like crusade of a wellness, crusade, and he decides to eat all these cruciferous vegetables. And in the middle of the night, he feels like he's going to die, and he's like begging Leonard, his roommate, to take him to the emergency room. And as he's getting dressed, he bends down to put on his shoes, and he lets out a massive fart. And he's like, oh, forget it, I'm okay, because the gas had built up so much. So, your body needs time to kind of adjust to things. So don't, panic obviously, if you don't feel right, go to the emergency room. I'm not a doctor, right? But that's what it was. Sometimes, same for me. Sometimes it could be a gas bubble. It could just be indigestion because your body's not used to that. But you won't know until you kind of play around. Let's see if we have any more stress less. Okay, my mind went to good deeds. So let's see if we have any. Do we have any messages for reading 3 from the good deeds? This one pulled out and it says, make a good well card. Make a get well card for someone. So this is in the good deeds department. So do you know anybody that's going through a tough time right now? Maybe you can make them a goodwill card, or, make them a basket, maybe of some healthy food. Maybe they're not feeling well because they weren't doing, their diet, whatever. But that's really nice. So make a get well card for someone. All of the good deeds are basically like, telling you do something nice for somebody is basically what they are. Let's see if we have any more from the good deeds. Ooh. Okay. This just flew across the room. Ugh. Well, not across the room, but let me see. Let me shuffle these again. I'm really trying to shuffle them good because the other readings, we got so many of the same. Okay. This is the only one that wanted to come out. And it says, interesting. Spend the day trying to give as many compliments as possible. This happened yesterday. I was in the grocery store, and I swear I felt like the lady in front of her was like, she just compliment everybody. But I do, because if somebody looks great, they look great. This woman, she looked gorgeous. And I was like, wow, I'm like, you look beautiful. I'm like, you're like so put together. And she's like, oh, and she like grabbed my arm, and I wasn't sure what she was going to do, because she like kind of came at me, and I kind of pulled back a little bit. And she was like, oh, thank you so much. She's like, that was so nice of you. I'm like, oh, you're welcome. But, it's like, maybe she needed it in that moment. Who knows, whatever. But before that, there was this elderly woman who was so sweet, and she looked so cute with her little hat. And I was like, oh, you look so cute in your hat. And she's like, oh, thanks, What is interesting, their reaction within like a minute, like two different people. But, you know, sometimes it's like, it doesn't even matter, even if they are, you know, you feel like they're maybe like cynical or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's about, you know, just putting the energy out there. So that's beautiful. It's always nice to tell people, you know, I mean, a lot of people, especially that woman who looked so put together. I mean, I was like, man, I'm like, that's a beautiful outfit. I'm like, that's a serious, you know, I mean, it was everything from like her shawl to, you know, like she was just really stunning. Okay, so let's see. So no more good deeds. Do we have any more, do any messages from positive vibes? Okay, I don't know if those are for real. So I got a bunch and I kept trying to separate them and they kept them together. And my mind is going to this one first. Okay. Oh, I love it. Find beauty. Hold on. Ooh, and I paused. It was 11045, which is also the number 11. Right? Because being nice to people and all that, that's like part of our angel work here on earth. Because you don't know what kind of day somebody's having. You can change their whole, you know, I've literally had people tell me before that they were going to kill themselves that day. I'm serious. You have no idea the effect you can have on someone. So it says, find beauty in the rain. And this could be like, maybe you were going to do something and it got rained out and whatever, but it's like, yeah, but like maybe something else. Like instead of getting upset about it, what else can you do? Like maybe there's something else. My eyes went to this one. Okay. And this says, let me get in a little bit closer. Focus on all that you are instead of all that you're not. Oh, I love it. Yeah. Don't be in the past and don't be in the future. Just be where you are right now. And if you're not happy with where you are right now, internally, externally, all of the above, then make little small changes every day until when you look in the mirror, you like who's looking back at you. And I'll tell you, by doing these little gestures, like, you know, making a card for someone or giving someone a compliment, like those kind of things, it's like, it comes back to you. It's just energy. We're all energy. So you're just like putting that energy back out into the world. The next one is, oh, you are enough. Oh, I love it. Maybe you're meant to watch this whole episode. Sometimes when they have so many cards in each reading, you know, I said at the beginning it was a group picker reading. So a lot of times it's just messages for all of us, but not everybody wants to hear them all. You are enough. And you're beautiful. And I love you. And Spirit loves you. And you don't have to be anything but who you are right now. Okay, and your last one is, ooh, you have everything you need within you. I just heard somebody, you're going to write that book. You know, I'm hearing like, don't put pressure on the end result. Don't put any pressure on yourself at all, but don't put pressure on the end result. Instead, just keep working at whatever it is you're working at, your goals, your dream, your aspiration. And if you keep thinking about it, then it means it's meant to be in your life in one way or the other. You know, I started turning my dialogue around. I'm like, I'm a millionaire. I'm like, I'm famous. I'm famous for just being myself. I'm like, I worked really hard to get here and I learn and grow every day. And I'm famous for just like for my artistry, for my spiritual guidance, for my mediumship. I'm like, I was put on this earth to be seen and I can feel that. And I've been hiding. And now I know. I'm like, no, I have to, astrologically, everything's aligning. And I realized that I'm like, I'm still wanting these things. I'm like, this is part of me. It's within me. It needs to come out. So what's inside of you that is like, okay, I need to share this with the world. I need to, you know, like, what is it? All right. Do we have any more cards from any of the other decks before we move forward? I don't know if we're doing a reading for it or not. Okay. I was going to say this one felt like it was sticking out. Okay. Sorry. I didn't mean to. Pick up litter around your neighborhood. I just heard stop complaining about it and go and pick it up. Oh my gosh. So is there somebody that like lives in the city or somewhere and you're like noticing that there's more garbage or whatever? They're like, pick it up. Go pick it up. Put some gloves on, get a bag, you know, and go and pick it up. and you'll do like a nice service. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to tell anybody. You know what I mean? But that's interesting. That's so random. I felt like there was one more message. So this might even literally be for like one person. That's so interesting. You know, part of my work, I'm in a work trade where I live, and part of it is to take care of the grounds. And I have a hard time sometimes with picking up that kind of stuff because we live off of a freeway and people are just so, they don't care. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'll even say to him, like, I'm not picking that up. I'm like, I'm not picking that up, you know? And he's like, okay. He's like, well, you know, he's like, I can do it if you want me to. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, it's kind of gross. I'm like, I don't feel like you know, certain things I don't mind, but like other things, I'm like, I don't know what that is or what's on that, but I'm not touching that. I'm like, I'm not touching that. You know, but yeah, anyway, I don't know where that came from. Are there any more messages from any other decks? Let's see, let's try one more time. Sorry. Okay. I'll do one more confirmation with Penji. Do we have any more messages for reading 3? No. Okay, reading 3. I hope these messages helped you in any way. Let me see. Do we want to move on? Do we want to do a reading 4, Spirit? Is there a reading 4? Do we want to pull in any other decks, or do you want me to do anything else on this video? The reason why I'm saying that is I finally got my new calendar for next year, and I love it so much, and it's so awesome, and I can't wait to show it to you guys. And so they might have me do like a separate video for that. I'm not sure. Anyway, do we want to do anything else for this particular video before we close the portal and end this session part due from the 1111 portal? All right, you guys. So thank you to your higher self, my higher self. Thank you to all of those who were here today from the 1111 portal yesterday and who showed up again today. We are in such deep gratitude. I mentioned it earlier and I'll mention it again. I'm doing a live reading on the new moon in Scorpio next week in real time on November 19th, 2025. I don't know exactly what time it's going to be yet. I'm still sitting with Spirit about it. So if you are interested, send me your email address. You can email me magicalmedium@gmail.com. It's in the description box. And if you would like to be a part of it, it's on a donation basis only. So you do not have, remember that prayer is free. If it's in your wheelhouse to donate and you want to, that's awesome. If you don't, that's not what it's there for, but it is an option that they want me to put out there. Okay. And so if you would like to be a part of that live but private event, meaning like you'll be live with me online on YouTube, but it's private. You'll get a private link. I'm not just going live like I've done before. This is different. This is going to be, I believe, a group of us. They're going to start building, and it's going to be really powerful. And I used to have something similar to it on Patreon, and I was thinking about starting it again, and the Spirit told me not to go on Patreon right now and to keep it all here on YouTube. So if you're interested, send me, email me, and then I'll have your email address, and then I will send you the private link, and it'll have the day, or it's definitely the 19th, but it'll have the time on there. And if you can't make it for the live event, that's fine. It'll be broadcast after. It's just that if you want to be, or maybe it won't. I don't know, Spirit. Are we going to broadcast? Do you want me to post it after, do you want me to post it afterwards? I don't think they're going to have me post it. I think it's like you're either there or you don't get it. You know what I mean? But if you are somebody who wants to be there, but it doesn't work for you for the time, I'll send you the link when it's over. Does that make sense? We'll be talking about it more. This is something new I'm going to be doing, and I'll keep discussing it until it just becomes kind of the norm. And that's it. Do we have any other messages, Spirit, or any other? Oh, I'm getting the chills all over my body. Do we have any other messages that want to come through, whether channeled messages or group messages, before we close this out? I'm going to see if there's any from each deck that we have any closing messages. I would think not, just because we had so many similar messages in each reading. No. Okay. All right, you guys, that's it. Do you have anything? I feel like there's one more thing. Is there anything else you want to say or do, Spirit, before we leave? No? Okay. Until next time, take good care of yourselves and each other. I love you so much. All of my information is in the description box. And for those of you who are international, I got a new PayPal account and a new link. and that's awesome. Also, it comes up, you'll see Edward Gustall. That's actually my partner's like real name, quote unquote. They don't let you on there when it's like a personal thing. If it was like a business, and I keep it personal because I don't like, until it becomes a business, it's like, you know what I mean? It's private. It is what it is. But I don't have, like, he and I share an account, and so it's under his name. The bank account is under his name first, and so that's the way it says. Like when you join up for PayPal, they're like, your name has to match, your legal name has to match your bank name or whatever, for like, so when you see it, it's me. You can see that it's me. It says the magical medium, but if you see his name, I didn't want you to be confused. So that's awesome. But he and I, we share the PayPal too. So like we share a bank account, and it's like, why pay fees and do all that everywhere else? We just share an account. And so my PayPal is, I have a new PayPal. So that's for people who want to donate from international. You can donate that way. I also have an Amazon wish list that you can, that's international. And then my Venmo, I believe, is just like local to the United States. So I have those there. And remember that prayer is free. So I hope you enjoyed this 2-part awesome 1111 portal transmission, readings, etc. And if you didn't check out part 1, you might want to go check it out, because just the transmission alone was really awesome. Like one minute I was talking and the next minute they just like came in, and it was a really cool energy entity. It was this beautiful divine feminine energy from the Galactic Council. And right before I was gonna leave, I saw this message. Oops, it's upside down. My eyes drew to it. So I kind of feel like this is like an end. I knew there was something else. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I just don't know how to explain it to somebody. I guess the best way I can explain it is, you know, when you have to pee and you're kind of like, you can keep going and doing stuff, but like you're like, I really gotta pee. It's like, that's like how it kind of feels with spirit for me. It's like I can feel like there's something that I have to do, but I don't know exactly what it is. Okay. But energetically, bodily, it feels that. Oh, watch an inspiring talk on YouTube. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to check out the description box, because I'm going to list that really great, it was Dr. Gabor Mate with Lewis Howes. I think that's his name. The second guy. Really great interview. Also, they're telling me about something else that I haven't seen yet, so I guess that'll be in there too. I don't know. There's going to be a bunch of links there. There's going to be a lot of information in the description box. And look in the description box for part 1 as well, because we talked about the gray crane and just that energy, and we worked with a lot of angel numbers. This has been an intense kind of 2-part series, really, which I loved every second of it, but there's just so much. And then there's one other thing. What was the other thing? Oh, I think it was in reading 1. They talked about watching like a good comedy, like whether like binge watching a TV show. Leah Morgan is really funny, and she has a new TV show out. I haven't watched it yet, but I watched the preview and I laughed hard like 3 times just in the preview. So that might be a fun one for you to watch. But what was the other inspiring talk? Oh, and then there's this one, another one with Lewis, with this guy. I think that one was with Lewis. It might be with someone else, but this guy, and he talks about the divine masculine and what's kind of really happening with the crumbling of that narcissistic energy. Okay, not that if divine feminine can't be, but just how they're like intrinsically like kind of linked right now with like a lot of the old like past like patriarchal shit that's like breaking apart. And we're just all in flux right now. We're all in flux, and we may want to be in like this like happy-go-lucky like live in like, you know, whatever, but the reality of what's really happening is that we are all really going through our own personal stressors, triggers, you know what I mean? So don't put any pressure on yourself. And one person's journey is not, you know, another person's journey. And, you know, I'm hearing like, just take it one step, one breath, one moment at a time. Until next time, I love you. Spirit loves you. Blessed be. Oh, bye.